the Lord Jehovah spoke with me this past night. The Lord Jehovah Elohim, the eternal creator, the creator of heaven and earth, the mighty God of Israel, the Lord of hosts, Jehovah Sabaoth. This past night he spoke with me. There is a very, very severe plague, a disease that's coming to the earth. There's a very, very severe disease that is coming to the earth on top of what you see going on the face of the earth. And this one that is coming is going to be very severe because what it does, it essentially locks down everybody on the earth. Everybody on the earth cannot move. It's a very sad situation. It's a dreadful terror. The entire earth is terrorized. And this disease has blisters. It will have blisters. The blisters look more like those of Ebola, but towards the end, as those boils come up, the eye of the boil kind of breaks and becomes dark, as if rots a bit and becomes dark. And it's very severe upon the land. It is extremely severe upon the face of the earth. There is a very severe disease, probably the severest I have seen, says the Lord. There is a very severe disease that is coming to the earth, upon the face of the earth, and I've seen even the surface of the earth, the terror. Everybody was locked into their houses in fear and wailing and weeping and crying because of the terror of the infectiousness of that disease and the dreadfulness, the devastation and the ravaging power of that disease. It's a plague that has never been seen upon the face of the earth. So I do not know whether it's a version of Ebola, but what it does, it has many boils all over the body, and it will infect as many people as largest numbers. So it is going to be a very dreadful time that's ahead of us here. And so strictly based on the words of my tongue, again, I now decree that now there will be a severe plague characterized by boils. There are boils, many boils upon the surface of the body like Ebola. And on the surface of those boils, which are full of pus, on the surface there is an eye of the boil. And that eye becomes darkened and kind of rots, and it has a stench, an unbelievable stench. And so when you have that boil, you lie on the bed. When you get up, the entire skin is left on the bed. It is coming to the face of the earth. And I have seen this strictly based on the words of my tongue. Now this will happen to the earth. And so this is going to be a very important time when every single person will have to uphold the redemption of the Lord, the salvation of Christ Jesus, because the times are bad. The times are right now very bad, because you can see the Lord is in a very powerful cascade now to reveal he that speaks with you. You can see that the cloud of God has visited him, the cloud that only visits the prophets of the Old Testament on Mount Sinai. And you can see that he has struck the earth with locusts, the authority and power that was only executed in the Old Testament. And you can now see that he has struck the earth with the plague of darkness, an event that was executed only in the Old Testament. And you can see now that he has struck the earth with the coronavirus, word to word, in a very dreadful way, according to the strict words of his tongue. But there is another plague that is coming, a very severe plague. It brings boils all over the surface of the body, and as the boils come, it's extremely infectious. It's the most infectious in the history of the earth. Extremely infectious. And I see the land, the soil, so I do not know whether those blisters are also going to be on the soil. Somehow it may be unbelievably infectious. I'm seeing the soil upon the decree of my ominous words. I have seen even the land, the soil. It looks like when you walk on the soil, you might also, I don't know how you'll get infected too, But it's such a dreadful moment, the most dreadful moment on the face of the earth, worse than terror. The terror it unleashes is worse than this terror, the terrorism you've seen on the earth. And people are locked into their houses in fear. There's dread. Even the workers, the health workers cannot manage. They are not able to handle this because they're getting infected. Extremely contagious, the most contagious of them all in the history of the earth, since the earth was born. So strictly based on the words of my tongue, this plague will now strike the earth. And these are the beginnings of that pain, that you people may prepare the way for the glorious coming of the Messiah, the nations of the earth. You people that walk the face of the earth, the nations of the earth, that ye may prepare the way, the holy way, the anointed way for the glorious coming of the Messiah. And it shall be known, when all these things happen, it shall be known that the mightiest, most ancient and terrible prophets of the Lord have walked here, that they have walked the face of the earth. So that shalom.